all like the electric fields from outside interact with our electric fields inside.
Trust to Disrupt, the podcast where visionary entrepreneurs, artists, creators, Web3 and crypto minds share visionary conversations and disruptive success stories. Hello and welcome back. This is part 2 of the podcast episode with my beautiful guest, Sebastian Krüger, founder and CEO of Biogeta Devices, an e-com business globally with devices that help you reduce stress in your body, stress that is caused through different ways of radiation and frequencies, for example, through Wi-Fi, your electronic devices, but also from radiation from the earth. And in this episode part, we're going to dive deeper into how it actually affects your body health-wise, symptoms, etc., how that all works down to biochemistry, and support on how you can find the device and also the brand that is actually really legit and gives you exactly the value for the money that you look for. So, all right, let's dive back into the conversation. Before we dive into the products, because I want to know more about what you say for people, when they find your website, obviously the shop, there's so many different languages, right? So no matter from where you are in the world, you will find a language I feel that you can understand. And
so I think,
you should think, globally,
yeah.
right?
What is maybe just to mention regarding our product. So I had in the development phase a very big advantage over like our competitors or other people there approached this topic. I was just in a lucky position because of my blog. I had so many assessments that I did, like every single day I was in the houses. So I could create this solution in the house. So it wasn't just like I thought, okay, maybe we can invent something and it helps some people. So I was just like, okay, we had this problem in the house. And so I had to find a solution. And what I did first, the first modules we did, I built, it was just like in my basement. I just said, okay, I have an idea. I try it out. Then I went to a client and said, okay, listen, I have an idea. Test it for 2 months and then tell me how it feels. And I went because as a naturopath, I was allowed to work with clients, also with bioresonance readings and all this stuff. So I always had my devices with me. So I did so many different bioresonance readings, like before and after. And I was interviewing the people, and I always did changes on the products. And we did so many changes, so many pardon?
Iterations, like so many.
So many iterations until we had the product. And we say, okay, now, and it was just like, I really believe in like a divine plan, more or less. And even if we don't see it at the moment, and sometimes it's really challenging and painful, you don't understand, whatever. But in hindsight, it always makes sense. And I had like a second really severe breakdown. It was 2019, because I was just like in this hamster wheel again. I was driving 70,000 plus kilometers a year, being into the houses every single day. I went from Hamburg to Vienna and Munich and all this stuff, like really crazy. And when I was in the houses, it was always like really energy draining because I went with all my senses into like all the fields, the draining fields, and I had to do the assessments. And of course, I wanted to help as many people as possible. And most of the people in the houses, they were sick because there was most of the type of people that really reached out to me. They had severe health issues, and so there was lots of pain. I was in my daily environment were like ill people with lots of pain. And part of my work was always like as a talk therapist. I was always having like conversation with the people before, like at least 1 hour. So about different topics of their life and stuff. And it was like really, really intense. And then I was really burning out, and I was, seeing neurologists because I got like almost like swindle and all the stuff, passing out. And then I got like muscle issues, really like cramps everywhere. I got autoimmune disease popping up and all this stuff. And then I already had like a little team, some assistants, my angels, and they said, okay, you're not going to go anywhere again. So you stay at home, and we have to restructure everything. And then I had to think about it because I made my living, my income. It was just like driving to people, helping them, doing like as a service person, whatever. And then I couldn't do it anymore because I got really, really sick. I said, okay, if I continue doing this, I'm going to die soon. Really, it's just like I had the feeling that it's not really, it's going to be the end. So I had to stop it. And then we had to rethink the whole situation. And then we started, I think, okay, what if we provide all the information as possible, like in form of videos. I started doing videos and all the stuff and started looking, okay, we do like, we create our online business where we send those products, because until that day we had so many iterations. So we had like really good products, the range of, so now we're able to send out the products. And during like the first years, we gave like 3 months return policy, and everyone was able to test everything and stuff. And this was really good because I made the decision. And then shortly after, COVID hit, and I was just like into the process of building up my online business. And so in hindsight, everything made sense. It was like, it made sense to have these long periods of testing, opportunity of testing the products, like finishing the products in like daily environment, and then stepping out of it, creating an online business, which eventually allowed me to move out of Germany as we got like threatenings from school regarding mandatory testings of our daughter and all this stuff. We said, we're not going to want it. We're not going to do it. We have to get out of this. Right. And yeah, so it's funny how life sometimes works.
Yeah, and it is in a way divinely guided. And what I'm taking from your story, that, you know, when you now tell it, it can seem a little bit like, oh, everything was so easy, and then I got this realization, and then this happened, and then I somehow knew I do this. I bet it was not.
No.
This is for everyone listening who may be in such a situation, right? It is to not lose faith and to keep going, to listen to what's up, and to be brave enough to take decisions that at some point sometimes just don't make sense. But you know that you have to keep going into that direction or take that turn or whatever it is. Because as Sebastian said, in hindsight, you will see it'll all make sense and you'll all be guided in whatever you believe that force is. It doesn't matter, but it is really like that. This is when you look at the world, right? Outside this matrix that we're being told to believe in, that we're being displayed, we can come back to us and listen to what is inside, and all of that we are. This is where we get the guidance, even though sometimes it feels really shitty. And I know that myself as well. Sometimes life feels shitty, but there's a reason for that, right? And I love how you framed this also about you were lucky, but maybe you weren't that lucky. Maybe it was really your divine path, right? And the single reason you were able to do these many iterations and have all of these, the test base of real life, right? Rather than sitting in some laboratory and theoretically assuming that this might work like this and doing lab tests and stuff. But you had real life people, real life evidence, proof, etc., which now is helping you as well. And can we dive a little bit, I'd love that, for people listening, into these different products, and also involve how everything with the EMF stuff is now playing into people's health as well? Because the overall theme from all you do is, you know, you want people to have the energy and be healthy so they can be in their power and live their lives more powerfully, right? So how is this all coming together in your products? And how do you feel both of these different energetic sources, the geopathic stuff, but also the EMF stuff? How's that today coming together in life for the average person?
Yeah, so we have like the main problem with geopathic stress zone is it drains your energy and it can cause stress in your body, right? And it affects like the melatonin production of your pineal gland. It affects the pineal gland. With EMF, you have like different problems. You have also this stress thing, but you have also like the problem with like high oxidative stress, because you have like on our cells, we have like little gates, more or less, called voltage gated calcium channels. And those channels regulate how much calcium is allowed to get into your cells. And calcium is a plus ion, is a positive charged ion. And we have lots of calcium in our body. And the problem is that all electric fields interact with each other. So like electric and magnetic fields interact with each other. That has, through like the exposure to strong radiation, where we have like everywhere, now. We have it like from our mobile phones, from Wi-Fi, from Bluetooth, whatever, like our house power, current grid, whatever. We have it everywhere. They interact with our body electricity. So our body works electrically. We are like a drone, more or less, sort of like a robot or whatever. And we have like all our nervous system, most of it works electrically, apart from like the neurotransmitter. This is chemical process, but as soon as the transfer has been placed, afterwards it's going to be electrically again. So that means like all like the electric fields from outside interact with our electric fields inside. And so these so-called voltage-gated calcium channels, they get like controlled by voltage, electric voltage, and through like exposure of EMF radiation, those channels open, and an uncontrolled amount of positive charged calcium ions get into the cells and start reacting, and they start producing so-called free radicals. And the free radicals, it's oxidative stress. They are usually they live in a very short span. But if they are too certain, they get combined, or they meet each other, they can live quite long, and they can travel through the entire body and start destroying everything. They destroy the blood brain barrier, the gut barrier, the cells, the membranes, the DNA, everything. So that means we have through the exposure of EMF radiation, it can cause all sort of symptoms in our body. And sometimes, especially when for example, if we place an ad on Facebook, let's say, okay, we have a protection for EMF, then you have all the hater comments like, oh, this is just non-ionizing radiation, it's not harmful, and just wear your tinfoil hat and all this stuff, right? And this is just like, because they are not only ignorant, they have no clue what's really going on, because you have ionizing radiation, which is like X-ray, for example. Yeah, it's strong enough to create ions, to destroy like atoms and molecules, right? But the non-ionizing radiation, like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and all this stuff, it's not strong enough to create like ions instantly, but they do it through the back door. They create free radicals, and the free radicals, they're strong enough. They create ions, they create like positive ions. So you have like this, they destroy molecules and atoms in your body. So that means we have the same effect. And this leads, for example, I would say it's one of the reasons that we have so many new cases of ADHD with kids, like autodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer, all this stuff. And you have blood barrier, gut barrier problems, leaky gut syndromes, and all this stuff, right? So we have a massive problem with this sort of radiation. And we also have the same problem with like geopathic stress zones. We have an effect, it affects our melatonin production of our pineal gland, for example, like, so that means we need melatonin for restful sleep, for regeneration, for our fertility, and all the stuff. And if everything gets disturbed because of EMF radiation and or earth radiation, we face severe health problems. So there is a need for products that help. And so our product, especially the home harmonizer, has balancing frequencies, not only for geopathic stress, where we can really measure the results, but also for EMF radiation. So it's like we cannot jinx away like the radiation. If I get my high frequency measuring device, I still can measure it. But if I place you, for example, on a bioresonance device or do different bioenergetic testings or readings, I see as soon as our device gets plugged in, there's no disturbance in your body measurably. And I have some of the tests on our website, for example. The problem is, and there we have the same problem with geopathic stress mitigation plus EMF mitigation. Not everyone believes in bioresonance therapy, for example. Not everyone believes in the existence of geopathic stress zone. Not everyone believes in radiesthesia. You see, like if you check Wikipedia, of course, because it's a controlled medium that want to keep everyone in the same cage. It's the same as reading like the Bild-Zeitung in Germany or like whatever.
The big tabloid presses.
I mean, it's like it's like a controlled media, nothing else, right? And so the problem for us was, okay, how can we prove that our products work? Of course, I can do like kinesiologic tests with you, but only in person. So, but if you just get on our website, or you see like a video of me explaining, hey, take one of our devices, it will help you. Okay, how can you prove it? So we were thinking about it. So how can we prove it? And then we said, okay, we can't prove that it helps with geopathic stress zones, because of course we can, but we have affiliate partners that learn how to measure those fields in my courses, and then they can see it themselves, right? And they can see the results, or other building biologists, they see it as well, but not like the everyday person, which is like skeptic because it's reading, or she's reading too much Wikipedia or some of the mainstream media, whatever, and or maybe it's just
or I want to bring in, maybe you can just, what you're saying is tying around that. When I was in Helsinki on a biohacker summit in July, and as much as there was breathwork and the cold plunge and all of that, there was tons of companies with different devices, and a share of them were going into a similar direction to your devices. And then afterwards, I just did some like 5-minute, 3-minute Google research on just sort of some of the keywords, and the volume of different offers that overall, for somebody who's completely uneducated about this topic, that shows up on Amazon and wherever is immense. And it's like you get stuff that for the first claim of marketing, the first 2 lines of words that you will read appear more or less the same, and you get products that cost €10 or $10, but you get some that cost 5K. So, and then how are you supposed to find what is true, what is really working, and then find, even in the higher price segment, find the ones that are not just putting on marketing budget on the price, but that really deliver. And that is what I see more in your products, but this is just my perception. So how can you share a little bit about, the deep research that you've done? And you were just saying about how can we prove that? Like how we were thinking about how can we prove it, apart from telling everyone, okay, we can mitigate like the consequences of geopathic stress or EMF radiation. And so we decided to do tests on cell vitality and mitigation of free radicals in a lab test. So we approached like a scientific laboratory, and what they did, so they got our products and they did different testings for the biowafer, because it works on the body. We had like 2 different incubators, and he induced, so not we, but he induced free radicals into human cells, from intestines and liver cells, different human cells. And he induced free radicals. And after 24 hours in the incubator with our biowafer, the free radicals were mitigated by 80%. Wow. And
it's amazing compared to the other one.
Yet the biowafer is just a small disc. It is
like, I have one here. Yeah, I'll show you.
For those who can see the video, it fits in in the palm of your hands. So it's, we have one at home as well, and I love it as well. So, but this is just the size of a small device with the result that Sebastian shared. So please continue.
Yeah, it's a natural frequency, the same frequency you will find in nature, where you get like this really like power spending places, like really where you feel energized. And so we sold so many pieces of them, because this was our first product, like in a different evolution phase. And we had so many clients.
Because the number is really, it's
this one. Oh,
yeah,
20, 30, 50,000. I don't know, like way more, 20, 30,000, way more.
Yeah. And this is also, when you guys, when you want to research products, check for these things. If you can find information on, how long it's on the market and how much proof is there. So I love that. So please continue.
And so the return rate of this is 0.00001%. So I don't know. Usually we don't get them back. So we have so many clients there, or our customers, they buy them over and over again and give them to family, friends and stuff. And so we got like the feedback from our clients so many times that it helps with like inflammation, like rheumatic inflammation diseases and all this stuff. So different things like wound healing and all this stuff. And now we found the reason for it, because it has like anti-inflammatory effects. It helps with like wound healing. This is what the lab test found, right? And it mitigates oxidative stress. It repairs oxidative stress. Even there is no frequency on it for mitigating EMF radiation on this certain product. But if you are exposed to EMF radiation, for example, your body gets set under stress, and you have this effect I was talking before, like the voltage gated calcium channels open, and you get like oxidative stress, free radicals in your body. The biowafer can repair it, can mitigate it. And this makes it really, really powerful. And this is the reason why it's not only like balancing out geopathic stress zone. If you check it with a Bovis value, if you're not like, if you haven't heard about like the lab test and just say, okay, I can dose by myself, I have a pendulum or whatever, then you can see like the Bovis value completely change as soon as you have a biowafer in the field. You can balance out those negative fields. Let's say you have your bed on the wrong place, you use a biowafer and it balances it out. Yeah, and it's proven. It's really cool. And then we have the second product, like the home harmonizer. And then we wanted to make a different test. We didn't want to see if it just like works, like reduces like the oxidative stress in this point. But we wanted to check if there is like a difference in cell vitality, because what we do with the home harmonizer, we don't like the biowafer expands the energy field. It gives you additional energy. The home harmonizer just balances out all the deficits and provides all sort of helpful information and frequencies to just like to counteract the harmful frequencies that are around. So what we did is just we checked cell vitality, and within 24 hours we had an increased cell vitality by 20%.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's like only 24 hours. That means like if you plug in our home harmonizer, you have 20% or even more after a while, cell vitality, because this was only the beginning. Usually it's like exponential. It goes straight up, right? So that means you have more energy. And, we didn't even check if you're like, if we solve your geopathic stress zone, which drains you extra energy during the night, or we didn't check if it like balances out like the EMF additionally. So if maybe you have a router next door, or your neighbor has a Wi-Fi right at your wall or whatever, you have it all over the place. So this was just under normal conditions, everyday conditions, just the home harmonizer plugged in, changed the cell vitality by 20%. Right. And wow, this is cool.
Can we have this sentence again? Because this is again powerful. Just plugging in this beautiful device that we also have, 20% of cell vitality increase.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
that by itself is great. And I love how much credibility all of how you are doing that, and in your company, how you are communicating this, how you're educating people, and how you're developing these products is, to me at least, and everyone listening, you have your own opinion on that, but feel into that. This to me is something that gives a hell lot of credibility, and versus some other brands where sometimes you can feel like, okay, somebody had a great marketing idea and did great marketing and the product is okay, maybe. Still, then, and last thing I want to say, because it's not a promotion just on that one, but I feel when I researched the market, looking also at the higher price segments, I feel with what your products can do, they are still at a very good price level.
Absolutely.
For the value that you could get out. There's so many products that are double the price or even triple the price. And so do your research if you're interested in any of these. And obviously you can visit the shop of Biogeta. We have that in the description and in the show notes here of the podcast for you guys. If anybody resonates with what Sebastian has been talking about, with so in depth and is so much passion in this, I love that. So slowly we're turning over to the last part of this conversation, even though I know we could talk for like 10 more hours probably. When we look at all of these topics, right, and we've heard your story from the past and how you got here and now what it is exactly and how you shifted that physical business, the brick and mortar, if you want, into an online business, which is now growing globally, which is amazing by itself. But looking at all of these topics, people becoming more conscious overall, being more aware of what they have been told by government, society, starting to ask more questions, becoming more aware of their health, becoming more interested in biohacking and energy and, learning all of these things in the most positive outlook. If we move into the future 15 years, maybe, what is an outlook that you feel where the world can go if we have more people like you and like people on this podcast and those who are listening. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs here listening as well, and artists. What if we really allow to follow what we're meant to do here and educate ourselves and spread news? Like, what do you feel the world could look like in the trajectory 15 years, 20 years in the future?
Yeah, I would wish that everyone wakes up and just like finds its own purpose and live by its purpose, or his or her. Yeah, the thing is, it's always not the easiest way to swallow the red pill, right? You see in the Matrix, you have like, it's a lot of challenges. I mean, because you are challenged, especially I see it in my business. I had so many times where I just wanted to stop because I was just frustrating. People don't understand it and think, oh, this is just a scam and all this stuff, right? And I mean, like, it's always easier just to follow the crowd, right? So I think a part of it, because I mean, like, it's like if you have been like, if you dove into the topic of effective microorganisms, for example, yeah? You have 5% positive, 5% negative, and the rest is neutral. And it depends which one of the sides gets like stronger, the rest follows. And I think this is a bit like with us humans as well. So it depends a bit like how strong will the narrative be, in which direction. So right now, it's really cool in a way. So like more people get aware of it. Everyone wakes up. Many people wake up. But on the other hand, it's just like a lot of suppression from the top. And I think to say what will be different in 15, 20 years, it depends how strong like the mind shift of the people will be to give different entities or people a chance to rule as well, and if it's possible. Because if we have like the wrong leadership all over the place, then it will be difficult as it is, because then you're not going to hear it. You have like facing the same problems. You have wars all over the place, and it drains energy everywhere. Of course, you can like wake up as many people as possible. If you suddenly have like an induced war, then people get into fear when they are like concerned about their families and all this stuff, right? So yeah, I would wish that more people like create this sort of wave or avalanche to wake up to disrupt everything, right? So yeah, but
I love that vision. I fully, yeah. I'm signing the line for that vision, to invite everyone to keep on this path and to hope for more people to wake up. One question that popped up on what you said, when we look at this, what do you feel, or whatever your take is on that, there is an idea that we can create the evolution and the disruption from within everything that is, versus stepping outside and creating the new outside of it. And this is now what is, if you want to call that a new world or the next level world or whatever it is, the next version of civilization. Do you feel that, do you see that difference as well? And do you have an opinion on that?
It's a tricky question. I mean, like, of course, you have to step out to see like the whole thing. But on the other side, you have to be inside to change it from inside, if it's possible, right? I don't really know, honestly, the answer. So because I was thinking about like this sort of stuff many times, and like if you discuss with someone about like the mainstream narrative, for example, and you tell him, okay, this is all bullshit. You know, the whole story is a lie. Everything what we are told about like the everything what we know is more or less a lie, more or less. And then if you pick like certain examples, like about like Dr. Harmer, for example, because I was pretty connected to this
Can
education.
you share for everyone who that is? Maybe.
Yeah, it was like he was a German doctor. He was one of the leading German oncologists, and he found that certain conflicts within your body, like certain like experience you have in your life, to create certain programs in your body to help your body to go through certain areas. And this causes what we call in school medicine, like cancer, for example, different. And he discovered that all different type of illness or like diseases have like go through two stages, like the sympathicus and the parasympathicus, right? And he found that there is a cure for all sort of diseases just by solving certain conflicts, and that most of the diseases are not really diseases. It's just like natural responses of the body and stuff. And he was really, really successful. And then he got silent complete, and he was like really bitter afterwards. And he was just like really, of course, afterwards it was his mission to fight against like the system, and he passed away like a few years ago, unfortunately, in his exile, whatever. But this is just one example, because Dr. Hammer was the reason for me to study psychology or psychotherapy like many years ago, because I thought, okay, wow, of course we can help people if we can solve their inner conflicts and tell them, okay, this is not a problem. It's more or less like a response of your body to help you through like a certain phase, right? And this also where like geopathic zones come into play, because we need the parasympathetic mode to resolve certain processes in our body. And if they get disturbed and get put into the sympathetic mode all the time, our body can't resolve like this or solve this like natural programs. And then we get like diagnosis of cancer, for example. But it's not really, usually it's not really the problem. It's more or less, most of the time it's already the cure, you know? And so he discovered this, and this was too much. Yeah, because it was like you're threatening for the complex, right? And so, but just it was just an example. So, and when I was talking to someone about Dr. Hammer, and I just took it as an example, and I was just explaining, okay, like you have to step out to see everything from the outside, that everything is a lie. That we have to build everything new, more or less. And he comes from inside and gives me like printed out documents and all the stuff, and wanted to prove me from inside that no, this is all not. This is as it is, yeah. Or like the construction of the so-called state Germany. I don't know. You probably know about the whole story. It's like the company thing, right? Yeah. And so if you talk to someone about it who is like inside of this matrix, even if it's a biohacker, whatever, and you can't get together, because when you say, okay, but you try to prove a concept from inside, when I from the outside say, okay, the whole concept is false. You know what I mean? And I think this is the problem. This is the problem. So we have to step out, yes, to see everything, but then we have to step in again to change inside perspectives and make sure that there is no vacuum as well. Because if we have suddenly create a vacuum, a power vacuum, for example, then it can be difficult as well. Yeah? Because not everyone has a high conscious. You know, then you suddenly have a lot of how you call it, revolts, problems. You know what I mean?
Chaos.
Like,
it's the chaos.
Chaos.
Right?
Yeah,
because order is decreasing, so chaos is coming up, right?
Yeah.
I love your take on that, especially this idea of the vacuum, because usually I'm on that side of saying, agreeing to everything that you say, and also saying by getting people into the higher states of consciousness and awareness, understanding that there's more than the box that they think that they live in, with all of the constructs, will then enable them, again, it's just an idea, will then enable them, because they can look from the higher perspective, to create the new outside of it, and it will draw everyone from within to what is new outside of it. And maybe the old can just collapse in itself without doing damage. But I love the aspect that you brought in, so that maybe it is a mutual process. So while outside more is growing, within more is changing, and at some point it might merge again. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Or like the example what I talked about before was the effective microorganism, right? Mm-hmm. So you have, like, let's say 90% is neutral, 5% is positive, 5% is negative, and we see like we get from the outside, get back into inside, and try to raise as much as possible to like affect the 90% neutral, to raise everything higher, so that we all can subconsciously create a different reality for everyone, right? Because
100%.
we manifest, we do it anyway. Everyone manifests, right? So like we can do it in a conscious way or in a subconscious way, but we create our reality. We more or less, I believe we live more or less in a simulation, more or less like in a hologram or stuff like this. So you quantum physics prove it. You can get like an electron microscope get into my body, and I have like my 80 kilos. If I get into like the core, where like the electrons circling the core, if we would suck out like all the room, I was 0.02 millimeters. And if we go deeper and deeper, we are in the quants, and then we are just in pure frequency. So there is no such thing as matter, right? And so, yeah, we create our reality all the time, and we create a like collective reality as well. I think this is actually the way to do, even if it's difficult. But yeah, that's the challenge, right? Yeah.
I love that. So closing this off, I have 3 questions for you that I'm asking everyone on the podcast. And before I get to that, what you say as a summary is, with all the multi-passionate things within you, but focusing on the Biogeta products and supporting in that way, what you say, because the way that you're supporting people with the products is helping them be in a higher state of energy and health, so that then it enables them to choose a more conscious lifestyle and be more open to receiving that, because of the higher energy levels, the higher health levels. They are not distracted so much with fixing the pain.
Yeah, of course. This is like, maybe this is the deeper sense why it's maybe my purpose to do this stuff, right? But like on a more surface level, it helps you to keep your energy to stay more healthy. But if you keep your energy, you have more energy. Of course, you are not so effective or open, receptive to all like this fear-inducing thoughts from others, from the mainstream media, from the mass vibration. And especially sometimes we have days and nights where the energy field drops everywhere, the energy level. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's natural, maybe it's sun winds, maybe it's winds, maybe it's from HARP or whatever. But if you measure it resistically, sometimes you have fields that are stable, that have lots of energy, and suddenly, if you are a bit sensitive, you feel it. You wake up and you think, oh, something is wrong. Something is really disturbing here. And then you do measuring, you see like the energy level dropped completely. That means in such nights, literally everyone loses energy. You wake up and you lost energy. Point. And then when you have less energy, you are more receptive for manipulation, of course, and for like negative thoughts. And if you solve this, if you just like plug in, like hinder like the energy flowing out of your bathtub or of your body tub, then it helps you, of course, to manifest a better life and help the collective as well. I mean, like we are all connected. There are studies like TM meditation sessions and stuff. That prove when there was one city, they all did the same meditation for a month, and in the same time there was less crime in the city. They found, because there was just on some level the energy was higher, so it was less crime, right? And so yeah, it's maybe it's the reason. Yeah, it's one of the reasons.
I'm taking it one step bigger as a closing word to lead into the question. So basically, with what you do, you help raise the vibration of the planet.
Yeah, I try. Yeah. Yeah.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. So there's 3 questions. Just answer whatever comes through. First impulse. What does trust to disrupt mean to you?
Yeah, I think it's to live your purpose, even if it's challenging, and call out stuff that it's not in line with your beliefs. And it's not so easy, because like this is, I mean, like, we are social creatures. We always want to have belong to something, and we want to have appreciation and acceptance and all the stuff. And sometimes if you have like different views, different opinions, but I truly believe every human being has its purpose here, a reason why he or she is here. And I think maybe it's the trust to disrupt, like just listen to your inner self and go out and do. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Who else would you love to listen to on this podcast?
Yeah, because I just said, okay, I have to call out what is not right. I would love to hear Dr. Hammer, but he's unfortunately he passed. His representative Helmut Pielhaar. He would be a good one to explain the philosophy or the medical, the discoveries of Dr. Hammer, what processes in your body cause which symptoms. It's a hot topic. There is a reason why he was really discredited and yeah, so I think the discoveries of Dr. Hammer would help every day thousands of people. Yeah, but yeah, I think this knowledge needs to get out more and more and more.
Great. Yeah. Note taken. Very good. And your best advice or an impulse to every visionary future maker out there? Anything you want to share with people?
Yeah, question everything and be open to anything.
Yes, best advice ever. Thank you, Sebastian, so much. Everyone listening, check out the links in the show notes, wherever you're listening. There's the blog, the academy, the English and the German version, and obviously the shop where you can check out the products and just find Sebastian online as well, especially on Instagram. They're creating amazing content as well. So we're going to link all of that. And then I see you and hear you on the next episode. Thank you so much, Sebastian.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. I hope you really feel inspired and you gain new perspectives for your own ventures to take action. Remember to subscribe to the podcast, download the episode, and share with one visionary person who needs to also hear this. Also, please leave a 5-star review if that feels aligned on iTunes or on Spotify. That helps to distribute the podcast to more people and to have high caliber guests on for you to enjoy.